Scenario 15. Quality of Life. Real Scene 1. Social Interaction. Nature never deceives us. It is always we who deceive ourselves. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. My goal. After I finish Scenario 15, I'll be able to recognize statements and questions that use the past tense form of the verb to be, and I'll be able to create WH questions using the auxiliary verbs did, was, and were. I will also learn to express preferences using gerunds. Through the reading material, I'll learn about societal interactions and the composition of state government. Introductory questions. 1. What is your role in society? 2. Do you know how the government in your country is organized? 3. What are the functions of the armed forces in your country?
The Promised Land. Whether or not culture and biology, together or separate, have been directing human behavior in the last 50,000 years, the results have been truly dazzling. We create culture and influence human behavior when we invent things or new strategies for living and then pass these inventions on to our offspring. In this way, what we have created ends up creating us and altering the course of evolution. Those of us who are lucky enough to live in the most advanced part of the world have great material wealth, but are we really at peace with ourselves or with each other? Whether we live in one country or another, we all have to follow some basic rules in order to live in peace and safety. Our society has been organized based on the sovereignty of the government, which is imposed by the members of each society. They rule the destiny and the wealth of the nations.
Conversation. Listen and practice. Where were you born, Susan?
I was born in Salt Lake City.
So you were born here in the US, right?
Sure. I have lived here since I was a little girl.
Were your parents born here too?
No, they weren't. They were born in Canada.
Was your brother born here?
No, he wasn't. He was born in Toronto, Canada.
Grammar Structure 1. The past of to be. I was born in Vancouver. I wasn't born in the United States. You were little. You weren't very big. He was 10. He wasn't in college. We were born in 1985. We weren't alone. They were in Canada. They weren't in the United States in 1980.
Writing. Choose the correct verb form. My sister and I, born in Canada. We, born in the US. I, born in Montreal, and my sister, born there too. My parents, born in Miami. They, born in Cuba.
Government and society. Here are some examples of how the government is organized in some United States cities and what has been done to protect and improve the quality of life for the citizens.
The Executive Department. The Governor. The supreme executive power of the state of California is vested upon the Governor, whose duty it is to see that the law is faithfully executed. The Governor is elected by the people for up to 2 terms of 4 years. No person is eligible for the office of governor who is not of 18 years of age, and who is not a citizen of the United States and a resident of the state. The present governor of California is Jerry Brown. The governor is commander-in-chief of the militia of the state. He is the sole official organ of communication between the government of the state and the federal government and the other states of the United States. The governor's appointed power also extends over two significant areas of the state government. First, the governor has authority to fill vacancies in the judiciary, municipal, superior, appeals, and supreme courts, and to fill newly created judgeships. Second, the governor has the power to appoint a large number of positions throughout the executive department, subject to confirmation by the state senate.
The governor's legislative role. While the trichotomy of the separation of power among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches is quite convenient and useful, it can, like many other academic divisions, be misleading. The governor operates out of necessity as a legislator to carry out and execute the policies of his administration. He initiates and influences legislation. He submits his views on the problems confronting the state and details policy proposals before the legislature. The governor's cabinet. In addition to his immediate staff, the governor, in cooperation with the Director of Finance, the Director of Industrial Relations, and the Director of Information and Technology, leads a cabinet made up of the secretaries of the 10 major state agencies: State and Consumer Services, Business, Transportation and Housing, Environmental Protection, Child Development and Education, Food and Agriculture, Health and Welfare, Resources, Trade and Commerce, Veteran Affairs, and the Youth and Adult Correctional Agency. Armed Forces. The armed forces generally consist of the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and are responsible for the safety and security of the nation on a global scale. In times of war, enlisted men willingly risk their lives for the security of their nation and, occasionally, don't return home alive. 60 years ago, a mother wrote a letter to her 3 sons fighting in World War II. Her sole request to them: make it home, make it safe. They all did. Her great-grandson, award-winning Christian musician Mark Schultz, has told her story, inspired by those letters and her diary, in the song Letters from War. Letters from War tells of a mother writing to her son and receiving a letter one day from a man her son helped to rescue. The letter explained that the enemy had captured her son. However, the mother kept on believing and wrote every night. The song tells of the fear her mother had of being told her son would never come home. In the end, the son arrives safely home and tells his mother that he was just following orders from all of your letters, and I've come home again. Writing Letters from War led Schultz to team with the Army Safety Center on a new campaign called Be Safe, Make It Home, in an effort to reduce the number of accidental deaths on the battlefield.
Grammar Structure 2. Questions using the past tense form of to be. Where were you born? I was born in Miami. When were you born? I was born in 1985. Were you born in Chile? No, I wasn't. What city were you born in? I was born in Boston. Were your parents born in Boston? No, they weren't. Where were they born? They were born in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Writing. Complete the questions with was or were. A. When you born? B. Where your mother born? C. You born in Miami? D. When your father born? E. Who your first teacher? F. What he or she like? G. How long you in the army?
Government and Society 2. Miami Police Department. The Miami Police Department has a long and distinguished history. It was established in 1896 when the city was formed. The Miami Police Department has developed a reputation for expertise in police technology. Law enforcement agencies worldwide have sent their police officers to be trained by the Miami Police Department SWAT team, the Canine Detail, Bicycle Detail, and other specialized units. In 1998, the Miami Police Department was among the law enforcement agencies in the nation selected to receive a federal grant to conduct community policing training.
New York City Fire Department, FDNY. From volunteers to professionals, buckets to super pumpers, from the year 1648 to the year 2014, 366 years of New York City firefighting. Today, the FDNY protects more than 8 million residents in the area of 320 square miles. The uniformed force is under the command of the Chief of Department and consists of more than 11,400 fire officers and firefighters. In addition, the department includes 2,800 emergency medical technicians, paramedics, and supervisors, as well as 1,200 civilian employees.
Grammar Structure 3. Questions with did and was. Where did you grow up? I grew up in Boston. When did you come here? I came here in 1992. Why did you join the Navy? Because I wanted to travel around the world. How old were you in 1990? I was 12. Who was the governor? It was Mr. King. Story. The challenges of a changing city. Today's New York City Fire Department has come a long way from its initial days of toting leather water buckets to 4-story blazes. Over the years, as the size of New York has grown, so has the frequency and the size of the city's fires, and the fire department has had to grow, adapt, and learn how to deal with a wide array of fires and dangerous situations. As always, in a city the size of New York, there is a potential for catastrophe. In some situations, no amount of preparation will suffice, and firefighters must deal with emergencies in the best way they know how. On June the 25th, 1958, the freighter Nebraska and the tanker Empress Bay, which was carrying 280,000 gallons of gasoline, collided shortly after midnight and caught fire directly under the Manhattan Bridge. On a December morning in 1960, Another tragic accident took place when a United Airlines 4-engine DC-8 jet with 84 people aboard and a TWA 4-engine Super Constellation with 44 people on board collided over Staten Island. The TWA plane landed on an empty field on Staten Island, but the other plane continued in the air for another 10 miles, finally landing on a park slope in the neighborhood of Brooklyn, killing 6 people on the ground, tearing apart multiple buildings and starting several fires. On March 6, 1970, 2 members of the Weathermen, a radical offshoot of Students for a Democratic Society, were making bombs in the basement of a Greenwich Village building when one was accidentally detonated, setting off a chain reaction of explosions that essentially levelled the building and ignited a gas main. 1993 World Trade Center Tragedies. On February 26, 1993, a terrorist planted car bomb in the underground parking garage of the World Trade Center's Visa Hotel, blew a giant hole in the Twin Towers substructure and caused a partial collapse of the PATH train station. FDNY members responded to what was, at the time, the largest mobilization of apparatus in the department's history. 5 people were killed and over 1,000 were injured, many by smoke inhalation, including 44 firefighters. 2001, September 11. Sadly, the first attack on the World Trade Center was only a hint at the tragic consequences of domestic terrorism. On September 11, 2001, terrorists took control of American Airlines Flight 11 and flew it into World Trade Center's North Tower. 16 minutes later, United Airlines Flight 175 collided with the South Tower. Nearly 3,000 people were killed during the initial crash. Later, when the towers collapsed, 343 firefighters were killed when they were inside the buildings, attempting to rescue survivors. The disaster was, by far, the most catastrophic and challenging event in the history of the FDNY. The fire department and rescue crews worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months after the crash and collapse, performing rescue operations and recovery tours.
Writing. Write a short essay about the impact of terrorist attacks from radical Islamic groups. Discuss your opinions. Grammar Structure 4. Preferences with gerunds. We can use several different words and phrases in English to talk about things we like and dislike. Like, love, enjoy, don't mind, dislike, hate, can't stand. After these words, you can use a noun or a verb in the ing form. I like water. I like swimming. I love sports. I love running. We enjoy good food. We enjoy eating out. I don't mind housework. I don't mind cooking. I dislike buses. I dislike waiting. I hate housework. I hate cleaning. I can't stand planes. I can't stand flying. Research spot. Look for more information about 1. Armed forces in your country. 2. Neighborhood watch groups. 3. 9/11 conspiracy theories.